How do I handle this?
Well, go to the liquor store. In the back of the liquor store. No. In the back of the liquor store are the boxes. And you want to get those liquor store boxes.
What are you talking about?
And use those to pack up your shit and leave in the middle of the night.
Oh, my God.
The liquor store boxes are best because you can't put too much stuff in there, and then they're too heavy to get down the stairs, especially if you're sneaking out in the middle of the night.
You are listening to The New Man, Beyond the Macho Jerk and the New Age Wimp. Your host is men's coach Tripp Lanier.
Is it easier to do a cold plunge than it is to deal with your partner's emotions? If your partner's in a bad mood, should you just be their punching bag? And do you spend more time focusing on solutions or who's to blame? Today, Alyson and I discuss navigating big emotions in a partnership. We explore how to deal with intensity while also setting boundaries against aggression and good old-fashioned drama. Have you ever done cocaine?
No, I've never done cocaine.
I haven't either.
I've
known a lot more people. I'm like, you do cocaine? They're like, yeah.
I'd be afraid to see you on cocaine.
You'd be afraid?
I think you would get addicted like so fast just because you would love it so much.
I have a feeling that would be more true in my 20s for sure. I think I would have really liked it. I've known a few people that were addicted to it.
Yeah, my best
rough
friend
stuff.
in college, her boyfriend became addicted to it. He was a musician also.
Oh, look at that. Must be the musician thing. Can't be the cocaine.
Can't be the cocaine. How you doing this morning? You
I'm
ready
good.
to?
I don't know what you're bringing. You've been off on your own, so I'm a little nervous. That about what we're getting into because I don't feel very prepared. But I'm gonna do it.
Yes, you are.
Covered in dog hair from your dog.
No, our dog. The dog that you wanted.
When she acts up, it's your dog. All right, let's do this. What do you got?
Okay, well, I was trying to pull up an email that I got.
You got an email?
I got. Let me put it this way. I saw an email.
That would require that you checked your email.
I check it every day. It's just, it is doing this weird thing. I was going to ask you to help with this. It's doing a weird thing.
Email?
Yes.
It's coming in.
No, it's not just coming in. It's acting weird.
Okay.
So, anyway, so this is from a guy named Eric.
Eric.
Yeah, Estrada is his
Eric
last
Estrada.
name. Yeah.
Holy shit.
Yeah, but he works for Ben and Jerry's naming ice cream flavors. So I don't think it's the Eric Estrada that you were thinking of.
Does he use AI?
Oh, right. I forgot. Well, what he does is so this is Eric Estrada. He works for Ben and Jerry's, but he uses AI to help name ice cream flavors. How's that?
When you were growing up, did you have a little crush on Eric Estrada? Watching
which one
Chips?
Was he?
Which one?
There were
Ponch and
two.
John. Yeah, well, there was Ponch, Frank Poncherello.
One was blonde and one was brunette, right?
Right.
Which one was Eric Estrada?
Eric Estrada's the dark-haired guy.
Oh, yeah, he was handsome.
Yeah.
I think they both were, weren't they?
Well, John had that kind of John Baker. He had that kind of stoic kind of removed.
I don't really remember the blonde.
He's the guy that would
but I do remember what Eric Estrada.
He's the guy that get through a thing and he's like, hey, oh, John, you're bleeding. He's like, yeah, I got shot 3 times. No big deal. Let's keep going. Like,
really?
He's kind of stoic.
That makes me want to watch the show. I don't think there was the thing I remember liking about Eric Estrada, the actor, is his smile lines. Like he had crow's feet. I think I remember this. Like he was always tan, but he also had these like lines coming down his cheeks. I thought that was so handsome.
He was cocky. He was the cocky one.
Oh, was he?
Yeah.
I don't know if I loved that, but maybe I did. Maybe that got me. That's conditioned me to fall in love with you.
Do you think I'm cocky?
I think you can be cocky.
Me?
I think everybody can be cocky.
Oh, okay. Yeah, it's capable.
All right, we're getting off track.
Yeah, we are. What is Eric Estrada?
This is a genuine letter.
So this is not the Eric Estrada, the actor.
This is not the actor.
Just want to clarify that because I was getting pretty excited there for a second.
Yeah. I mean, you can imagine that it's the actor. That would be kind of fun.
Working in an AI ice cream naming thing.
Okay. Naming ice creams for Ben & Jerry's. So
I think those guys just smoke weed and name it. I don't think they need help. All right, keep going.
All right. So he, of course, does glowing reviews of you and your show, and you've helped him out so much.
Did he say anything about you?
Not a word.
Yeah. Sweet.
Not a word.
As long as you're not eclipsing me, you can stay on here.
No, actually, he does say a little thing about how he likes my presence on the show. But,
he does.
But
well,
he likes our dynamic. He's writing in because I wasn't going to get into all this.
Did he send you pictures?
Oh my God. Let me just read the letter because I don't need to talk about his appreciations for our dynamic. You'll see in the letter why he wrote us. So he says, big fan, all that stuff. And then he says, I'm really struggling right now. My wife seems like she's always upset about something, and it's hitting me hard.
Probably not bringing enough ice cream home.
That would be you. You're projecting.
I'd be like, you better have a couple pints, buddy.
Maybe it's the ice cream that's causing the disruption in mood. And he says,
so she's upset.
Yeah, she's always, it's like she's always upset about something. And he said, I listened to your show and I hear you guys talking about being with like holding center and kind of coming back to yourself. He said, but I don't know how to just quote, be with it. I want to fix it, make it go away, or at least make her see my side. But the more I try, the worse it gets. She says her job has been causing her a lot of stress, but it's like she's not just upset about that. There's an edge to it, almost like contempt. I don't know what to do with that. I feel like I have to handle her with velvet gloves. It makes me feel small, like I either need to shut down completely or push back hard. Neither of those feel good. How do I hold my own center when she's this upset? How do I stay connected without feeling like I'm losing myself in it? How do I... no, wait. He says, I know this might just be nice guy stuff coming up, but I also feel like there's something deeper I'm missing here. How do I handle this?
Well, Eric, you go to the liquor store. In the back of the liquor store. No. In the back of the liquor store are the boxes. And you want to get those liquor store boxes.
What are you talking about?
And use those to pack up your shit and leave in the middle of the night.
Oh my God.
The liquor store boxes are best because you can't put too much stuff in there and then they're too heavy to get down the stairs, especially if you're sneaking out in the middle of the night. So use the liquor store boxes. Little pro tip there. All right, next question. Next. Just fucking help him, just saving lives here. We're saving souls.
I love it. That's really funny.
That's my tip.
There's a whole like concept of like and yeah, this reminds me of like a kind of a way to help. One of the ways that in coaching that I've heard recently of helping people get back to center is like design life exactly the way you want it. Like what would it be if it was totally your own way? Like this, people would just be leaving left and right, not trying to work anything out, not trying to clear anything up.
Well, that is interesting. I mean, I was going through one of Terry Reel's courses, and he was talking about how there's been this self-improvement movement has all been about the individual. And essentially it's like people kind of work on themselves and then it's like, well, I've worked on myself. Screw you. Yeah. Now. Like there's not a like, how do we strengthen the relationship for one another? So there is a pretty common thing when I've seen that a lot over the years too, which is like, I've improved me, you haven't. So I'm going to go to the liquor store and get some boxes. Yeah.
Yeah. That's a whole nother conversation in many ways, but let's come back to this, back to Eric. So, and just to kind of like broaden the playing field, not just Eric, but if any guy's default is to fix things just so he can feel okay.
Well,
How would he sit with the tension instead? Because that fixing things, pro tip from a woman, try to fix it, escalates it.
Well, let's see if we can really get into the essence of this, which is on one level, she's got things going on in her life that are happening outside of their marriage. He didn't talk about what he might be doing to contribute to her state of being, her emotional state of being. And then there's a third element, which is being around her when she's in this agitated place is stressful. And that's normal. Like when we get kind of like, oh gosh, you're in a place and then I go to the liquor store and then you get a certain way when I'm in a roughed up place too. And so we feel that and we want to make that tension go away. And so there's a lot of things that are happening here. I can imagine there's a part of this conversation, which is like, helping him be more skillful and in integrity with her so that if there's agreements that he's not keeping up, then, he can kind of identify what's hers and what's his.
Well, and I do think that there might be something going on. He just talks about, I want to fix it, make it go away, or at least make her see my side. So he's definitely kind of, it sounds like he's scrambling for something, he's like reaching for traction in one way, shape, or form, which may not be what is needed in the moment, when it's.
So I would wonder if she has any specific requests. There tends to be in a lot of relationships where somebody just complains and then that's it. Like they don't say, hey, will you please stop doing X, Y, and Z and do A, B, C instead? And then there's an agreement. Yes, I will do A, B, and C. It's just like, God, you're blah, blah, blah. You're terrible. Blah, why are you such a da, da, da?
Why are you this?
And then that's it. It's implied that we should change something, or that may not be that person's responsibility to change that. And the person just might be having a bad day and just bitching and moaning about stuff. So
yeah, but when there's that bitching, having a bad day, I feel like this is something that you and I have worked. We just have this as a value in our house that I think a lot of people don't have, which is like, if we're having a bad day, we each of us respectively work hard to not kind of lash out and put that on the other person. And I'm saying that because he's talking about how she always seems upset. There's an edge where it's almost like there's contempt with him. And so even if there's stuff going on at work, it sounds like it's kind of spilling out. Like she's like, you're my person, you're my safe person. So I'm going to take it out on you or towards you.
It's safe to be an outlet for
like a kid with their parent or something, So I'm curious about that, like this piece. He didn't say he's walking on eggshells or anything, but how would he know if he's like, how does he be respectful and be with what's going on? Also, maybe setting boundaries and making requests, or like how does he check himself and his own fear of her reaction?
Well, I think that is a good place to start, is to first start within himself and his own activation. If she's a certain way, or it's like, oh, I'm coming home and I'm already anticipating that she's going to be a certain way.
For sure. That's what it sounds like is going on.
And he looks at the liquor stores he drives by. But
he holds his breath as he walks in the door.
Is today the day I get the boxes? And you open the trunk, he's got a bunch of them in there.
Or he's like me, where there's just boxes waiting in the garage. We put our recycling boxes in the garage before it takes it out each week. So it looks like I'm just ready to pack up at any moment.
It keeps the marriage on its toes, knowing you could leave at any moment. But that is important to just come back to ourselves. What does that mean? That sounds pretty...
Yeah, exactly. Because he even says so. He's like, I know you guys talk about doing this, but I don't know.
Yeah, I think there's an element of like, what is going on for me? Like, what is happening for me? And not jumping to conclusions. So what does that mean? It's like coming back, like, what am I actually feeling? I'm feeling anxious.
Scared.
I'm feeling tense.
I don't want her to be mad at me.
Right.
I don't want to be in trouble.
Instead of jumping to, I must have done something. She is going to attack me. I need to be on the defensive. Like there's all these kind of, we feel a thing and then we jump to a thing. And so we're saying slow that down and just, what's going on? And then if you can identify what's that assumption you're making, or, what would what would be causing that anxiety? I'm assuming X, Y, and Z.
Yeah. And this is something that works really well, like if you have somebody helping ask these questions, or if you feel by yourself, you write these kinds of questions down and then just try to answer them like journal style. Because this isn't something people just have a lot of self-awareness about. I think this actually takes a little bit of self-reflection of like, what is going on with me?
It is mindfulness in that way. It's like just to slow down and just what's going on internally. Let me just check in. Let me check my body.
Yeah.
Let me check my emotions. Let me check my thoughts and just catalog what's here.
Yeah.
Without judging it.
Yeah, and I think I would say because the reactivity comes in so fast as a protection mechanism, whether it's to posture or collapse or whatever it is. I'd say that slowing down is really important too, and like having a moment of acknowledging that whatever's here is okay. Like I'm not in trouble, or I didn't do anything wrong, or my way of being is like I'm okay no matter what, or some level of like reassurance to the self.
I like that. That coming back to that piece of I'm okay even if she is upset.
Yeah,
now, I might feel tension. I might feel some anxiety. I might feel some concern, but ultimately I'm okay. And I think that's important to remind ourselves of, like, we can go through challenging things. Not like, oh, everything's fine, nothing's happening. It's more, hey, I'm in this tension and I'm okay.
You're speaking to something that I think is actually monumentally challenging for some people. And so the concept, I think you're speaking to self-awareness, mindfulness, and you're a central kind of a central midline of safety or ground that is the just being able to have the perspective that you might not feel okay and you're still okay. Things around you might not feel okay and you can still feel okay. Like there's still like there's just the kind of a both and is really important.
We're using some language here. It's like I'm okay. I was like I'm gonna feel okay, but I'm still safe, right? I don't have to panic.
Yeah.
That I think we're just trying to, like, that's what I'm getting to, is like this can be really tense and I can respond. I have my autonomy. I have choices. I can do X, Y, or Z instead of, if she's this way, it's just like this, bam, I just reactive and I've lost my ground. I'm not thinking anymore. I'm just reacting now. And so being able to come back and just say, yeah, this is intense. I don't like this feeling. It doesn't feel good. It doesn't feel okay, but I can work with this. I can work through this. I can get help, or I can ask for help, or I can take a minute and go for a walk or whatever it is, but I have some autonomy here.
Yeah, and the other piece, I mean, I think how it plays out in a more, for somebody that hasn't meditated for 20 years is like they're going to have the panic. They're going to have the waves that throw them off center. And then to be able to ride those waves in a way where they're not totally swept up and eclipsed by them, like that's the whole world. And instead come back to like, oh, I just felt that big feeling and look at me okay on the other side of it.
Yeah, and I want to name that I've worked with people that when, and this is I don't like conflict either, but like when conflict presents itself, or even that conflict may come. Yeah, like they go into they start to shake. Their body goes into a trauma response, and that's about the past. Yeah, and that would be an indicator to get some help. Definitely. You know, that we're not actually reacting to the moment. We're anticipating or we're predicting that something from the past is going to happen again. So
and that you're naming a really clear example of how trauma can kind of eclipse us. And even this scenario that he's talking about, I think any scenario like this that somebody gets into, I don't care who you are. I think that there might be even if you've done a ton of work, there's probably a nanosecond where you're gonna feel young.
Yeah, absolutely.
And so there's, even if you haven't had trauma, you're gonna feel young because there's that sort of contemptuous, accusatory vibe coming at you, or angry vibe coming at you. Sucks. So there's this like, ugh. Yeah. It's clear to me, I mean, that he actually really loves her. He wants their marriage to be going well.
I didn't get that.
wants to be, he's trying to do the work on his side. How do I be with this?
Get somebody younger and fun.
Sunk cost, baby.
Just fun. Just get somebody younger and hot and fun.
Yeah, because they don't have any crazier problems going on there. No.
That's the solution, Eric.
That's just, they're great.
Young, hot.
Yeah, like a Stepford wife.
Get a red car. Get a red car.
A fast one.
Yeah. And then somebody... Well, I think that to come back and we're fucking around a lot here, but there's also an opportunity here when we feel more grounded in ourselves, which is like to get curious. What's going on here? What's happening here? What's happening with me? What's causing me to react in this way? I'm making an assumption and I'm reacting to that assumption. I might be right. Mm-hmm. But then also I can ask her, hey, what's going on? Mm-hmm. Like, tell me what's going on. Is this about me? Is this about something with work? Is this, but can I just sit there and listen without needing to fix? Mm-hmm. But what we can do, again, it's not necessarily to fix her or help her move through her thing, but also to just get clarity. Is this about me? Because it might not be about me. And then is there anything I can do to help you?
So I want to point something out here that because I really appreciate where you're coming from and what's just happening. Like if you're kind of listening to this and you're thinking, could I do this in my life? What if you categorize this? What's the change that's happening is you're moving from being reactive and just trying to manage the situation as it is to just literally kind of calling time out on everything that's going on. And as if it was a freeze frame of a movie and being like, okay, what about this corner over here? What's going on over there? Okay, now what about this over here? What's this? Because there are going to be lots of layers to it. So I think I really appreciate what you're saying. And I think for couples, sometimes it takes this like, whoa, time out, stop, let's freeze everything as it is. And just examine what's actually happening here.
Right.
Of course, your job is stressful. My job's stressful too. That's partly why I'm trying to manage you. Like I've checked in with myself and I don't like hearing people, I don't like the stress in my job, so I want to come home and relax. And when you're not relaxed, I want to fix it because I want to relax. Like there can be all these different angles where most people just keep plugging away. They just keep moving forward and it happens so fast that they're in a mess before they know it. So you're speaking to something where it's like we don't try to manage it as it is. We just actually stop, check it out and try to get clear on what's here.
Yeah, and I think that it's important. We do this. We've talked about this in our relationship. Like if one of us starts to kind of lose the ground, it's an indicator like, oh, this is my opportunity for now, for this moment. I need to be the one that holds the pole. Like I need to be the one that holds the center here. This other person's going to go off for a little bit. And that doesn't mean it's okay for them to be abusive or harsh or a dick.
Yes.
But it does, they probably aren't in their grounded, conscious state. So they're going to be reactive. But that's the opportunity. Like, okay, I don't want to get messed up in that because then we're going to spiral.
Right.
And we're going to escalate and it's going to get worse. So if I notice my partner's starting to go off the rails a little bit and have a moment, this is my opportunity to stay calm, really feel my feet on the ground and breathe and just say, yeah, what's going on? Tell me. I want to hear what's happening. Let's spell it out. And if the attacks start to come, that's not okay to talk to me that way. If you have a complaint, I want to hear about it, but it's not okay to attack me. That we can learn things like that.
Yeah. Again, you're referring to not trying to manage it as it's happening as much as just literally saying, okay, we're getting into territory where this isn't going to get better. So let's just straight up pause, take some space, come back. And part of that is like, when you're in any partnership, holding center, like if the other person's way off, sometimes that's easy because you can really see, like, I was having a fine day before this person walked into my space and now all this is going on for them. Sometimes that's really easy to see, like, oh, this is clearly not my shit. And other times when there is, people are sloppy with their words. They can be hurtful when they're hurt. There's all sorts of things going on. So part of that self-awareness, I think, is noticing your own self. Like before this happened, before they walked in the room, now that they're here, and then if they're being sloppy with their words, where are you? What's happening with you? Always staying in relationship with yourself. So if you need to be like, whoa, this is gonna get ugly if we keep going.
Yeah.
Even if that other person wants to pick a fight, there are plenty of people that want to pick fights just to move the energy. So I think I like what you're saying, and it takes some skill to be able to or some wherewithal or I don't know what the word is that it takes, but it takes some kind of courage to be like, okay, this is not.
I think this is a great opportunity to get back to the drama triangle and what David Emerald calls the empowerment dynamic, which is the flip side of that. So if my partner walks in the room and is convinced wants to make me the villain and feels justified to attack me, now they're essentially playing the perpetrator, that I've got an opportunity to I'm not going to get into this triangle with you. I'm not going to play the victim because you attacked me and then return another attack and feel justified to do so. That's where things escalate and we never get anywhere. But if we practice the empowerment dynamic, I can choose to listen.
Yeah.
I can also choose to set a boundary. Hey, it's not okay for you to talk to me that way.
Or like, I actually don't even hear what you're saying when you're yelling at me, or when you're making everything my fault. I can't come to you from a place of equal partnership here. Like,
yeah. And they might throw something at that point when they hear you talk like that.
Okay.
Not everybody had decades of training. Right. But I think that the point I want to make here is like this drama triangle and this kind of perpetrator, villain, and victim and hero shit this dynamic can't operate if we don't play into it. And this is happening because we're allowing it. This is happening with Eric because Eric has tolerated it. And what Eric could do from a high level is just say, okay, if this isn't working, I need to shift my dynamic, my part in the dynamic. And I can ask questions. How can I be helpful? Without assuming responsibility. Oh, if she's upset, it must be because I did something wrong. She can be upset, period, about XYZ happening. But I can ask questions like, what is it that you want? What are your requests?
What's going on over there?
And a lot of times, people that are stuck in their kind of victimhood or poor me don't want to talk about solutions. They want to talk about who's to blame. And that's an indicator that they're stuck in that frame of mind. But when we ask them, what would help you? What requests do you have? What would help you in this moment? What do you need me to do differently? Doesn't mean we have to do that shit, but it challenges us to get into a different frame of mind and start to move towards a solution. And if we don't want to be their laundromat, we don't want to be their washing machine where they take out their dirty laundry at the end of the day, we can say so. Let's get you some help because this isn't working where you beat me up at the end of the day and it's not going to happen anymore.
Yeah.
But that would be a way for Eric to return the power to himself, but still be a partner, still be someone that can contribute and challenge his partner or support them without having to be the punching bag.
Yeah. Yeah, and there's he struggles a little bit between, I think, posture and he said, posture. He didn't say posture and collapse exactly, but he basically is that's where he's kind of going back and forth between that. And I'm thinking about how he talked about treating her with velvet gloves or kid gloves or something, he said. And so I want to talk about that a little bit because where you're coming from a place of, wholeness, so to speak, in yourself. Like you're good with yourself. You're good over there, as you say that. You're also holding a boundary, but you're not posturing in a way where you're like, come at me. If you, just try to come at me.
You're got a list of 10 things that you're doing wrong.
Yeah, or like setting a boundary in a way of like, I'm one-upping you because I can do this kind of skillful talk even. But so what I'm here, my point is like there are the nuance of how you might deliver that information. Because I think that there can be value in treating somebody with a velvet touch if they need that softens them. And I think that's my assumption here is that's his what he's trying to do. He's trying to kind of soften things. How do you know when that's helpful and when that's actually contributing to the problem?
I think I don't want to dismiss your question, but I think there's another thing that's happening here, which is being able to name that this dynamic is happening and not wait until you're in the moment. So either
wait till everybody's fed and slept and calm.
Yeah, and say, we need, I want us to talk. There's this dynamic that's happening.
I would say they need to actually make an appointment to talk. Like,
absolutely.
Don't just like, hey, when can we talk? And it's like, oh, not now. Then they're getting into that.
And I've done this with clients, and it's amazing how hard it is for them to make an appointment to have a conversation with each other.
Yes.
Yet their screen time is hours a day. The amount of time they spend watching ABC and doing dumb shit. But to actually sit down and talk about the things that cause the most stress, it's suddenly they can't find the time.
Yes. I totally agree with you. It happens all the time.
Liquor boxes. So.
Oh my gosh. We don't want to be known as the podcasters that have the divorce rate go up.
But I will say that it needs to be named. Hey, this dynamic isn't working. It's not making either of us happy. We don't need to, and it's not a place to be like, and here's why you suck. But can it be an invitation? Let's find a better way. Would you be willing for us to do something? Because it's not working for me. I get that it's not working for you. You're unhappy. Could we find another way? And if you can find agreement there, awesome. If the other person's in a place like, we don't have a problem, you're the problem.
Liquor boxes.
But joking / not joking.
Yeah, truth in every joke aside.
Why would we not be joking? Well, if somebody isn't willing to come to the table.
Why would we not be joking? If someone isn't willing
if somebody's not willing to take responsibility or to even look at the possibility of taking responsibility and those types of things. And again, you've got to do this skillfully. And I wouldn't have this conversation without a professional third party in the room to make sure that things are actually getting communicated, because that can be a really difficult conversation. But just the idea of like, hey, let's shift this dynamic. It's not working for me.
Yeah, this is a bummer for both
of us. And if they disagree, like, hey, I think it's fine. We don't have a problem. You say, it doesn't matter. If I think there's a problem, if one of us thinks there's a problem, it's a problem.
Yeah.
Let's address it.
That's right. And I think that's really important. That's so common. That actually could be its own discussion right there.
Right. But for a lot of folks, it's like, let's just keep our head in the sand instead of, no, we've got a problem here. Let's deal with it. You and I made an agreement very early on that if we started to go off the rails, we would just get help. Like that was a default.
That was before we even started dating. That was one of my vetting questions.
Yeah. So it was like, this is just, we don't wait until you're, completely a wreck before you go get help. It's like, all right, if it's starting to go off the rails, let's get help.
I thought you said, don't wait until you're completely erect.
Oh my God.
My head's in the gutter this morning.
Yeah.
All right. Well, I wish the best of luck to you, Eric. I feel like that's
there's things like, name the dynamic. Let's see if we can recap this, right? So it's like being willing to name the dynamic that this isn't working and let's figure this out. I think for Eric, coming back and watching for where he jumps to an assumption that X is really bad and it's his fault or whatever kind of defensive thing he does where he goes into managing and protecting before she even walks in the door and learn to do his own, this is like meditation or physical workouts. I've had guys do the ice stuff, the ice baths, not because it was for their health, but it was for their mental health. Like that was the toughest thing.
Yeah.
Well, it was just like that was the toughest thing they did that day. Like dealing with their wife's mood was easier than dealing with the ice stuff. And then, but learning how to expand your capacity for that discomfort and then stay curious. What is it that you need? Like not jumping into the drama triangle immediately, like refusing to be the adversary. And what do you need? And setting boundaries. It's not okay for you to talk to me that way.
Yeah.
But if you have a genuine request, let's hear it. And that'll usually pretty short circuit some things pretty quickly if the person's just stuck in drama. And if not, then you can work towards solutions. Here's what I would like for you to do. You said you would do it and you didn't do it. Okay, those are things that if those are broken agreements and there's integrity issues, then that is your side of the street.
That's easy cleanup, really. I mean,
well, that would be something that that's where Eric needs to clean up his side of the street. If she is making, they are making agreements, not expectations and shoulds and but like actually very clear that XYZ is going to get done.
Well, and I think all of it really is cleaning up his side of the street. I mean, his ability to be in relationship with himself instead of be reactive to the world is cleaning up his side of the street too.
And you could put that stuff in liquor boxes and then leave. We just beat that one.
We just beat it onto the ground.
All right, we're good.
All right.
If these interviews are helping you, please leave a positive review on whatever podcast app you use so that others can discover the show more easily.